what do you make of Michael Bidwill's stability right now as the owner of the Cardinals?
Here's a basic reality that no one will ever admit to, but I know it's 100% true. The owners of the quote-unquote good teams like to have a cluster of teams that are run by dysfunctional ownership groups. So they're not, they want to win. They want to win. If every owner knew exactly how to properly go about doing his or her business, it's harder for any given owner to reach his or her goals. They like it. They like having 10 to 15 the teams that they can look at and say, that team really isn't a threat to what we're trying to do by way of winning games and establishing dominance and ultimately getting a bust in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, which they all want, even though they'd never really admit it. Although Jerry Jones, I don't think, was very bashful about it. It's one of the reasons he ended up getting it. So I don't think there's going to be some natural movement to clear Michael Bidwill out of the ranks. It has to be a situation where they believe that it's crossed a bridge where they feel like their hand is forced. That's what it was with Daniel Snyder. It became such a big deal. The stories and the complaints from the individuals who had worked for Snyder got so loud that they just said, you know what, we have to investigate this. And when that investigation happens, inevitably the person looking for something finds something, and then it's too late and it's taken on a life of its own. And even then, it felt like there were owners who didn't want to move against Dan Snyder, in part because they don't want that precedent to be used against them at some point. So I think it would take some sort of report that would reach a critical mass, that would trigger the kind of investigation that the league did of Snyder a couple of years ago with Beth Wilkinson, the attorney from D.C., whose report they ended up sweeping under the rug. They would have to do something like that, and that investigator would have to find something big enough to get the league to do it again. And I think that Bidwill would benefit from the fact that they don't want to make that precedent even stronger, that there's a blueprint, there's a roadmap to get an owner out of town. All it takes is disgruntled employees or people who are unhappy, who don't like the owner, complain enough, spark an investigation. It's like a tax audit. You never know what they're going to find, but they're going to find something. Mm-hmm. So I don't think Bidwill has to worry unless and until there's some report of something that would really cross the line, and we'd know it when we saw it, something that would require an outside investigation. That's when he'd have to be concerned.
So we don't feel like this Terry McDonough thing is going to be the investigation that could lead to that?
No, I don't think so, because it's in the secret rigged kangaroo court of the National Football League where they can keep it all quiet, right? And McDonough's tried to bang the drum about what happened with him, but you know, his approach was so shotgun in nature, and there's so much that he threw at the wall about, for example, employees who were disrespected. Well, that's not his fight. I sat back and waited to see if the individuals who supposedly were disrespected would make complaints. That's when it can start to take on a life of its own. When you have the right number, or wrong if you're the one who's worried about being forced to sell your team, but you get the right number of complaints, you just know it. We all kind of know, okay, hey, they got to do something about this. Terry McDonough's was not something that I think created a sense among the general population that, yeah, they need to do something about this. It's not a good look. I hated how they reacted to Terry McDonough's complaint. I think that was unbecoming to the Cardinals and unbecoming to the Shield. I think that the personal attacks and the efforts to undermine him were shocking, frankly. And I said so. I wasn't happy about it. And I mean, I'm astounded that an NFL member team would act that way. But I think it's going to take more current or former employees with allegations that resonate to get Michael Bidwill to the point where he'd have to be nervous about the league doing something that could result. First is the investigation. Then what do they do with the results of it? And then where does it go from here? I think that's the path that would be worrisome, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Just a quick follow-up on that, Mike. Do you feel like the Cardinals are going to be in a position, we assume, to have 2 premium picks in a blue chip first round of next year's draft? You don't think this Terry McDonough scenario could cost them one of their precious first rounders, either their own or Houston's, do you?
I'd be stunned if it came to that. I don't think that's the kind of punishment that he would have the ability to secure. And I'm not aware of anything under the rules that would even allow the NFL to do that, unless this would be the first domino toward a broader scandal where they find more widespread misconduct and wrongdoing, and the commissioner would have no choice but to take away first round pick. I don't think that anything's going to come of this Terry McDonough situation between now and next April that would cause that kind of an outcome.